right. This critique is for, I'm going to murder this, and I apologize right off the bat. Artgüello Süllow, and from Level Up, and he just wants a critique on his stuff. So the first thing I see right off the bat is the the positioning of the character. Looking at this particular character, what looks odd to me is you're trying to get the foreground out. So what I mean by that is, let me just get a little bit red color here. Okay, so you're trying to do this really steep bird's eye view or a worm's eye view, and the problem with that is you're not really doing the foreshortening, because in all reality the problem is the leg is straight here, but then it goes out here, and it's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just gonna kind of show you real quick. um, First of all, let's build our base and put in the hips, or the upper body, and then the torso. And being a female, the torso is wider, which you've got kind of a muscular build, which is okay, but I'm going to just kind of go from here. So that being said, then what I'm going to do is draw in my vertical aspect of that. Then what you're going to do is and I recommend grabbing like an action figure or something like that, um, because you've got such a kind of different pose. What I'd really recommend is to get that action figure, and then you just photograph your light source, because the problem you have right now is with the character posed like this. That this means her leg is up higher, and so you want to. This is okay here, all right, and this is fine, but the problem you have is when you put your knee in here, the problem you have is I'm focused in on the knee. So right now, if the knee is straight up and down, it's going to go straight up and down like this, all right, and that's going to kind of give you this better pose wise for your particular character. Then like you've got this going okay here, but again, you've got to have it going straight down, and what you've got it doing is going back. And so by going back, you're making this, it's feeling really spread out, really thin. So what I would do is, and it's not so much the position of the leg. I think the position is good. I think it's the perspective of it. I would see more of the kneecap, and you're going to see much more overlapping where the foreground of the knee comes over, and then the background comes like this. So you want to get more overlapping going on in your something like this, and I think that's a much better aspect of explaining it to you, is you want that layered look with the kneecap um, really pushing out, and as far as that aspect goes. And then what you want to do too is pay attention to the arm. Um, the arm here on the background, if you're bending this is actually almost straight out from the body. So if I'm bending this, the thing that I want to really concentrate on is um, having this overlap, if that makes sense. So I want more of that overlap in there. I'm going to see more of the underside, so I'm going to see that bone in there. And then if the hand's on the hip, part of this hip might be covered, part of the glove might be covered up by the aspect of the um, by the leg here, and so that's where that gives you some issues. Now I think you have a good um, start of your chest line here, but the problem is that you get your breast in there, and then the other one I think is just too big and wide. And then what you want to do is narrow this out a little bit more, and because your wrist is over here, and in all reality, if I'm swinging the pedestal from belly button, the wrist is going to be down here. It's going to go up more, and so I think this is not going to be as long. And then also you've got this turned like it would be 90 degrees, but instead the blade is coming towards you. So what you want to do is more of the thumb on the bottom and more of the hand on top. So you're seeing more of the face and the palm. And then the hand, the blade is coming towards you. So the blade is going to change in scale too. So that's one other thing I take in consideration as well. I think you did an okay job here, pushing the head forward. Um, I think that's a pretty decent job there. I think it's just the position of the hands and the overlapping that you need to get in there. That being said, um, one of the like it looks like you've used a brush to paint this up, and I can't really tell because of the quality of the image. Um, you want to again that's going to I think come further down. You think more of the gravity, and it's going to come further down like so. So something that you can do on this is on a new layer, if you're going to use the chain process, the problem is the chains are the links are flat on. And instead what you want to do is if you do, I think I actually have chainmail brush here. Instead, if you want to do that chain um, like this, so I'm just going to give an example here. Oops, a little bit more spacing in there. And so I'm going to do something like that, and then in the shape dynamics I'm going to do the direction so it'll stay the same. So I'm just going to really quickly clone this and actually I'm going to grab that, merge layer. Alright, so this is just really quickly me creating my texture effect. But now once that's in there, I'm going to transform that. The thing is, I'm transforming that actually out like this. All right? And that's going to give me that downward spiral look. And it sounds stupid, but that is all that's kind of the way you want to I mean, this is exaggerated, but that's the way you want to overlook your aspect of your um, your chainmail. And so again, it boils down to perspective. The other thing is, you know, when you do simple things like when you do simple things like this here, if this is coming up over here, then you also want to kind of match this up. And again, get that vertical, you want to get that perspective in that character. And it would also come up here to be a bilateral match. So that looks off right there too. So those are all things that you need to kind of worry about when you're doing your information. Now, when you're doing your rocks, the problem you have with your rocks is your light is coming from the back as well as kind of to the left. So what's happening is this front foreground section would actually be a lot darker because you're pushing your light all through this area here. So what I would do is I would actually darken that up. And that's going to really push her in as well. And I think that's a much better composition. Now, when you create rocks, you've got this texture pattern all over the place. So the problem with that is texture really only appears where light appears. So it's fine to keep the texture pattern. Let me just grab a regular old brush here. So it's fine to keep that texture pattern, but when you go into the darks, keep it dark and keep it flat. You know, see if you see here, and I can keep those highlights on there to give me the look. And you can see how I can remove a lot of that texture because it's not really doing anything. You want the darks in there to be solid, and you can even put minute color variations in there to kind of give you the idea that the rock has a little bit more shape and form in the shadows. So that's another thing that needs to be taken care of. And then what's your shape too, because with the leg, it's going to wrap around the leg more, whereas you've got it kind of going straight forward. So that's something that needs to be adjusted. All right, I hope that helps.